Honestly, 4.6 is an embarrassing release. I've been playing with this model since yesterday. It feels like it's the same model, but just the instructions have changed. Be more deliberate, be more thoughtful, review your work. It eats up a lot of tokens. It still makes dumb mistakes. I immediately saw this yesterday. Can you see what's wrong with this? This is just the way these models think. They approach a problem in a very local specific way where if they're dealing with this section of a code, they want to stay here. They'd prefer not to make another tool call. They'd prefer not to open another file. They'd prefer not even to go to the top of the file because that can slow it down. Here, look, it didn't want to go up to the top of the file and make an import. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, actually I have, and it was with Opus 4.5. That's the consensus that I'm seeing. Ian says, going beyond the social hype train, not much has changed. Opus 4.6 is still fast, still sloppy, a bit smarter, and it's a better designer, fine. Codex 5.3, a bit faster, a bit smarter. It's the best engineer, fine. Both are still clankers that make stupid decisions daily. Yes, this is why you can't use these models to automate your job. They make stupid decisions. And this is really funny because Greg Brockman, the guy at OpenAI that nobody has any idea what he actually does, put out this, he's trying to be like Andrej Karpathy here. He's trying to be a thought leader. You could skip everything that he said, but pay attention to this. Number 5, say no to slop. Managing AI-generated code at scale is an emerging problem. I want to repeat that one more time. Managing AI-generated code at scale is an emerging problem and will require new processes and conventions to keep code quality high. This is the most insane thing I've ever heard the most honest thing I've ever heard from an executive at one of these companies. What nepotism Greg is saying here is that slop is here to stay. It's just the way these models are. And, Greg doesn't say here, in 12 to 18 months, slop is not going to be a thing. What he's saying is that managing AI-generated code at scale is an emerging problem. It's just getting started. We haven't even seen the worst of it and will require new processes and conventions to keep code quality high. What is he saying? He's saying that models are slop machines and they shit out shit code like it's their job. And in order to counteract this shitification, you will need to require new processes and conventions. Now, here's what he recommends. Ensure that some human, just pick a human in your organization, just pick some human, is accountable for any code that gets merged. Okay, like companies have been doing for decades with software development. We review the code before we merge it. As a code reviewer, maintain at least the same bar as you would for a human written code. As opposed to what, Greg? Of course you maintain at least the same bar as you would for human. Do we lower the bar? And make sure the author understands what they're submitting. What Greg is saying is that these models have no idea what they're doing, and it takes a human to filter out the slop. And ultimately, you need humans to drive these slop machines. This is insane. This is actually insane. Honestly, Greg has seen what GPT 6 and 7 will probably look like. He's seen what Codex 5.4 and 5.5 will look like. He's not saying the typical 12 to 18 months bullshit. He's saying managing AI-generated code at scale is an emerging problem. I mean, look, it's one thing for Andrej Karpathy to say something like this. Greg is the president and co-founder at OpenAI who infamously tweeted that Rust is a perfect language for agents, given that if it compiles, it's roughly correct. Clearly, I don't know what Greg was thinking with this post. It's just not how programming languages work. Well, this was funny. This post is roughly correct. Tim Sweeney, that's right. The compiler correctly does what your code told it to do. Somebody quoted this and said, new definition of tilde just came out. Thank you, Greg, for saying the quiet part out loud. So yeah, the people in Silicon Valley are absolutely losing the plot. No one has any idea what to say anymore. Garry Tan here, president of Y Combinator. This is the funniest thing I've seen in a very long time. I am currently averaging about 10,000 lines of code per day. 30% of the lines are tests. So wow, 15K a day is goals, bro. Now, this would be funny enough alone, but you have his sidekick here, Paul Graham, who always tweets shit like this. I met a founder today who XXX. Paul Graham is such a schmuck, man. Look, I'm not even anti-capitalist. I am a capitalist. I'm sorry to say, I play the game. I'm in the U.S. There's only one game to play in the U.S., and it's capitalism. I like technology. I'm an optimist and I'm an accelerationist. But Paul Graham is a schmuck. Like I met a founder today. So go back to this tweet. Garry Tan, averaging 10,000 lines of code per day. And then Paul Graham is like, I met a founder today who said he writes 10,000 lines of code a day thanks to AI. This is probably the limit case. He's a hotshot programmer. And by the way, Garry Tan started with Y Combinator as a photographer, like that. And he worked his way up to like the president of Y Combinator. I don't know what kind of like rituals are required to get into Y Combinator, but you start at the bottom and now he's here. Now, this is probably the limit case. He's a hotshot programmer. He knows AI tools very well. And he's talking about a 12-hour day. But he's not naive. This is not 10,000 lines of bug-filled crap. Of course it is. Of course it's bug-filled crap if you're writing 10,000 lines of code a day. This was really funny. Pragmatic Engineers Gurgly is on a secret email list of agentic coders, and they're starting to report trouble sleeping because agent swarms are like a vampire. People are ruining their health just so their agents can create slop. It is just a mass psychosis event out there, guys. Be careful. If you could write quality code, cherish that and continue to do so. It will never not be valuable. So your jobs are safe with Opus 4.6 and Codis 5.3. And I'm beginning to suspect that your jobs will indefinitely be safe. So thanks for watching.